Hello, class. We're going to continue this collage method of creating a rendering just for Photoshop practice, and this time we're going to put a path into the front door. I'm going to do it through the collage method. I've already shown how to draw it from scratch in Photoshop. Quite honestly, a lot of times I find that if you don't have it 3D modeled, which is certainly has a lot of benefits, actually painting it in like we did previously is easier than the collage method, but you never know. We'll give this a try. So I've already downloaded a picture of a sort of a stone path that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use the path. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to use the polygon lasso tool. I know there's some curves here, but I often find Photoshop is going to have a hard time finding the edge of that path. I think like I can barely see it, and so I'm just going to do small little segments of straight lines to select them out, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. And of course, I'm not super worried about the edges because we can always redo the edging by using like the grass technique that I've shown in other videos, like grass edging or what other plants that you might want to do here. So I'm just going to sort of approximate the curve. Now I could go all the way and do this back curve here, although that's pretty far back in the distance, and this plant sort of gets in the way. So actually, I'll probably have to clean this up. I'm going to just cut around the plant and say, I don't need anything more beyond this anyway for my image, hopefully. And get the little shadow line could be interesting in here. Again, it might mainly be covered up when I do some grass trimmings, but that's all right. So I'll select out what I want and just do Control C for copy. Come to my image. And actually, I'm going to put this down all the way down to the ground layer for my path since it goes in there. Paste it in. It pasted behind my building because I moved the layer. You can see it's tiny. It's right there. But I'll put it approximately where it needs to go. Control T for scale and just scale this up. It's probably too big right now. And hit enter. Now, one of the things we might need to do, I mean, it looks sort of okay, but the reality is it's not quite matching the perspective yet. You can sort of tell if I take this line up and this line up, I'm going to guess they're probably crossing about here, but they need to cross at the horizon line, which is here, right? So don't be fooled. It's not that quite simple. You still need to adjust the perspective like everything else. So I'm going to go edit, transform, perspective, and that means I'm going to have to make them wider because I want this to peel in more towards the edge. And if it gets too wide, I'll just scale it when I'm done. Once I get the perspective about right. I'm just eyeballing it up again that line and this line are about crossing there. I think that's looking fairly decently. Pretty good. Looks a little big. I might have a little room to change that off. And I don't care that it's going off the side of the image. That's perfectly fine by me. Or even if it's cut out, like in this case, I actually see a little bit of grass right there. You know what? I could just crop the image and crop that right out. So we'll say that's looking pretty good for a path. That was actually pretty easy to do, so not too bad. So there you go. That's how you sort of collage in a path to the image.